Okay, so Erica, let's begin with your what looks to be your first professional career, like as a photographer. And how
Yeah.
does one start taking pictures? I don't know if that was actually the role, and then jump into IT.
Great question. Yes. I've had a long, winding career. There's been a lot of jobs before that and after that that I don't include.
Okay.
But yeah, I started a photography business because I graduated with a degree in biology and was very disenchanted with the opportunities. And I don't know. I'm just a person who does things and tries things. And I've got a talent for photography, so I said, let's try this thing. People were willing to pay me for it. So I said, okay, I got a business now. So anyway, I did that for a few years, but it's a lot of weekend and evening work, and also, it. I wasn't making as much money as I wanted to. Life's expensive, and I had to
Mm.
make my own way in the world. So at the same time, I was working at like Starbucks and Target and just all these like food service and retail places. And I actually remember having this moment at one point, like going to work one day and being in the parking lot and being so angry because I needed a surgery. And I think I was turning like 25 or something soon. And in the US, you age off of your parents' insurance at 26. Um, so just being really angry, like I am working myself to death and I could not afford a basic surgery, let alone ever save to do anything I want to do. Something has to change. Like I worked too hard for this. I ended up calling my dad. This story sounds a little bit stupid when I retell it. So if you have questions, it's fine. But my dad's a software engineer. He's been a software engineer for 25 years.
Mm.
He was the first, college grad in the family, and I basically just called him up and said, "Hey, do you think I could be a software engineer? Because I have no idea what the fuck you do, but I can't do this anymore, right? And I want to try something new." And he said, "Of course, you're smart. Go for it. I'll support you." And so I got into a master's program. I don't know how I did that. I don't have any reason I should be in a master's of software engineering program, but I got into one locally and I continued to work food service and retail for a bit. But anyway, long story short is I did not know what I was getting into with tech at all. I was never a technologically savvy or interested person. I'm just someone who can be interested in anything. And
So
yeah,
curiosity.
yeah, I would just say general curiosity. And so the mentality, I was very jaded back then. So my mentality was, well, even if I hate this, at least I'll be able to afford to live. But then I got into my program and I really loved it.
Mm.
So it was a bonus, right? Like I
Yeah.
felt like I had wasted all this time. So yeah, I loved my master's program, and I can tell you more from there if you want. But
Okay. So you got your master's, which meant that the next stage would be to get a job related with your
yes,
degree.
yes, exactly. So after being hit in the face by life already before this degree, I knew it was critical that I get real world experience as quickly as possible. So I was only one semester into my master's program when Cisco Systems actually ended up on campus. And an old high school friend was recruiting for this internship there. Now, again, what's hilarious is I didn't even know who Cisco was because I was very technologically illiterate.
Mm.
Um, had no idea who Cisco was, but I kind of just walk into this place, wanting to throw my hat into an opportunity in tech. And my friend there is like, "Oh my gosh, Erica, you'll love Cisco. Best place to work. You're going to learn so much and you're so smart. Like, you'll do great."
Mm.
And thankfully, he had my back through the interview process. I made a lot of dumb mistakes. I remember showing up to the first interview. I was wearing a formal dress because all the jobs I had worked had been, office, formal. And I show up and I'm like, why is everybody in t shirts? And, so,
Oh.
so my friend was vouching for me. He's like, guys, like, look at her resume. Like, she can do this. Like, don't be distracted by the dress and all that. Yeah. So anyway, my first job was that internship at Cisco doing network support on their firewall team. And that was a 6-month gig. It was great. I learned a ton. And I basically just said, hey, I know I haven't graduated yet, but I was older than all the other interns. They're like 19. I'm 25. I'm like, let's get this show on the road. I'm delayed. And they're like, are you sure? Yes. So I got them to hire me full time because they liked my work. And
Mm.
I continued my master's while working in tech.
So there's something. So you, while you were studying for your master's degree, you got the opportunity as an internship, then transition to full-time employee, still studying. So you you continue studying and working at the same time.
So I had to stop studying for the 6 month. That was a requirement of the program. And during that 6 month internship, I had to get my CCNA.
It was mandatory or something?
I mean, I was already in the program, so I don't think they could have kicked me out. But if I hadn't have got it, I'm sure they probably wouldn't have hired me full time.
Okay, so so at that time, so I'm just trying to see how you're growing technically, because you're learning what codes in your master degree.
Yep.
And then CCNA, you're learning networking. I believe it was 2019.
Yep.
So it wasn't AI era.
No, it was 100% drinking out of a fire hose. And I mean, that's how ignorant I was, is I didn't even realize how far on either side of the spectrum I could possibly be learning between my degree and this internship, right? But again, I knew that experience is everything, and that part did pay off for me. But yeah, that was a crazy year.
Okay. Probably there are two options: or you were lucky, or you're probably a genius. I
don't think I'm a genius, but I don't know. I'll let you come draw your own conclusions.
Because it's like, I've been talking with a lot of folks, and they are in IT like for ages, and like CCNA is still being like the barrier, and we're going to dive into it because code for network engineers is oh my gosh, I can't even just basic Python. They just can't get it. They can get it. And let's say like you started with code, and then you get networking concepts. You got your CCNA. So there is something hidden there in your head that.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think it's just curiosity. So that's the one credit I will give myself, as I've always just been the person who said, like, why not? Like, why couldn't I do that? And so it's not that it wasn't super, super challenging, or I didn't lose sleep or anything like that. And also, both of those things I was doing was a lot of the fundamentals.
Okay.
Like, CCNA is the very first cert, and even though I was in a master's program, right, I was learning to code as part of the master's, just some baby stuff. Okay. So I wasn't getting super advanced in either side. Okay. And also just kind of like, I can do it, so I'll do it.
I've been to roles like, you spent a couple of years working in multiple jobs, so you already had like that experience of what is hard in terms of.
I was very motivated. I was very motivated to leave that life. And also, so I haven't gotten into this. I won't get into it too much, but my last job was teaching network engineers to code, or trying to encourage them to code, right? And 100% the biggest obstacle is mental, right? It's not that learning to code isn't hard, but they just have it in their heads that they can't learn. It's too hard for them. Yeah. Or that software engineers are somehow smarter than network engineers, which is not true. So I think it's a mental game.
For sure. Yeah, it's a mental thing. Okay, so you got into Cisco. What happens next?
Well, I would say that, to sum it up, I both learn a lot, but also end up feeling kind of lost, because I did not mean to end up in networking, and I'm getting this degree in software engineering. And basically, I don't know what my career path is. And it's a little bit difficult, I feel like, at Cisco, because I think that network support is your foot in the door, but it also leads nowhere, if that makes any sense. There's no pipeline. There's nowhere to really get promoted to. And this has changed, but at the time, you also started at a tier that was a lot lower than the rest of the company. So it was really difficult to get into another role just based on HR stuff. And again, thankfully, that's been changed. Really happy about that. But yeah, so I kind of spent time feeling a little bit lost and jumping around and trying to figure out, okay, I broke into tech. I'm not poor anymore. I've proved I can do this, but like, where do I belong? And those years after that were jumping around to different roles, right? I worked as a sales engineer. I went into startup world. I did end up becoming a software engineer at a startup for a while in coding. But it was just kind of trying to figure out, like, now that I can be choosy, what do I want to do?
So you didn't have like a roadmap. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm trying to achieve.
No, I think I had like a greater vision of like happiness and finances and respect, but yeah, I don't think like career path wise, like I'm just not really like that. Okay, if I had any path, it might have just been one day I wanted to do my own thing. So either I was going to get promoted high up at a company and get to actually make decisions, whatever, right? I mean, hopefully on the technical side of things. Okay. Or I was going to start my own business, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, because you started as an entrepreneur, right? At the early stage. And it looks like you had this bug with you during that time. Like you wanted more money. This is one of the reasons why you got into your master's degree and then you tech. But then you are at this stage, like you are in tech, you have your master degrees, you know how to code, you know networking, you know security, so you know a lot of different things about tech. And normally people start making this question: do I want to become like the team lead, the director, the CTO or something, or I'm just going to start my own business? So you were like jump in that period, like asking whether I want to chase this path.
I think that like I really liked the work I was doing. I didn't like every job. You know, some jobs are stressful or had things going on, right? But I really was really happy once I entered the tech industry. So, I mean, the plan, even if I started a business, was to be like down the line, right? At the very least, I want to learn a bunch of skills. Honestly, I feel like I feel like part of the problem I had there was constantly running into, I don't even know how to describe this, but like personal obstacles in tech. You know, I don't want to do the whole like women's issue thing, right? But basically, the times were not all good, and you go through this internal struggle as someone not very represented in tech, where you say, "Hey, am I not good at this because I'm new, or do I not belong here?" Or you know, okay, so now I'm good at it, but like, why am I not being listened to? And like, what can I do to further myself? And hey, this recurring scenario keeps happening. Like, in my case, I just felt stuck. Like, I felt like I would crush every role, and I tried to really be like a kind person and a team player. I'm not very like corporate-y. And it just wasn't, I wasn't going anywhere. I don't think I got promoted a single time while in tech in the industry outside my business. And I told you I had a bunch of other jobs before I was a photographer. It was very opposite in every other industry I'd worked. Yeah. It was hired, oh, you work hard, you're smart, promoted. Okay. So I just was like, I don't know how I'm going to have any of the voice or agency that I'm looking for if I can't even get the first dang promotion.
But were you were you looking for that? Like you were hoping like, okay, this is Erika, you're going to be promoted. Were you expecting for that?
I was hoping.
And it never happened.
I mean, again, right, like, life's complicated, blah, 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 companies are complicated, but that is part of why I jumped around so much, is because I thought, well, it must be because I'm in this certain role. Okay, well, now it must be because I'm in this certain company. I even deep dove into, like, evolutionary psychology, because I was like, there's not that many women here. Maybe there's something wrong with the way I'm talking to these men, where they can't hear me. I mean, I dove deep. I reflected on myself too. And I couldn't get anywhere. So I guess if you have a question, I can stop. But
no, because one thing, I believe I'm this kind of person that I'm starting to realize that probably I don't fit in the corporate environment. So I don't know if you feel like that. Like,
yeah,
I want to grow, I want to do more, but I'm not getting the recognition that I deserve or that I want, the contribution that I'm making. I don't know if that's the same way you felt.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. yeah, this is very common from people who jumping from one boat to another. Like, it's not the money, but it's the contribution, right?
Yeah, I want work to be meaningful. I mean, I know the money was the initial motivator because
Yeah,
everybody has to live, right?
yeah.
And everybody comes from different financial upbringings. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it was never all about the money. I mean, even if I hated it, like I would have made something meaningful out of it, you know. So I ended up the last role I had before I started this business was coming back to Cisco again as developer advocate, and I was so excited about that because I mean, even though that was technically an individual contributor role, it wasn't something higher up. To me, that I was like, this is my chance to have a voice because you get to represent the company, you get to go to conferences. A lot of developer advocates are online. They're known for their work, and so I thought, well, I'm having trouble getting promoted, and like you said, some people aren't made for corporate. I kind of reached that conclusion too. Um, but I was like, this is a way for me to have what I want. So I did that for a year, and I really tried to crush that out of the park for a lot of reasons. One, because there were constant layoffs going on at Cisco, and I was terrified that I'd have 3 months in this role and then never be able to get something like it again. Also, just you know, I knew that I wanted to have kids, and it kind of kept getting delayed because my career, I didn't feel like it was going anywhere. I never reached that point where like, oh, I'm established. Okay, now I can do this.
Yeah. So this is something, and we're going to touch on it. So you needed also kind of a certainty that I'm at this place and I kind of belong here, and like this is a place that I can call home. It's safe, and I can establish myself here. But you didn't felt that.
Yeah, I think that, and I'd like to call it street cred, right? I mean, theoretically, when you get pregnant or have kids, even if you try not to leave the workforce at all, I mean, you're going to take a hit, right? Inevitably. So do I want to take a hit when I'm known as an expert or whatever? I mean, at least been in a role for a few years in the same type of role, or do I want to do it when I'm still playing the hopscotch with my interests? You know, that doesn't feel as good.
Okay, so there are two things that I want to touch that only you can explain this to me.
Okay.
Not only you, but so first, uh, let's start with networking folks getting to code.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is something that you are teaching, you start a business around this. Why do you think it's hard for networking folks to start coding?
I think there's a few different reasons. I think one is that it uses your brain in a different way. And to be honest, a lot of the reasons that network engineers struggle are the reasons that I think everyone struggles. But yeah,
What?
that everyone struggles. Like, not it's not like specific to network engineers.
Okay, okay, okay.
So you use your brain in a different way that most of us have never exercised, including network engineers, right? I have a video online about this, but the summary of it is that you use multiple regions of your brain called the multiple demand network, and it touches on the language center just a little bit. It touches on parts of math, but not really. So you know, there's no part of your life where you ever would have practiced using your brain in this way, and so it's very uncomfortable. You feel very stupid doing it. You're going to be bad when you do it at first, and that's just, you know, so for some people that's hard to handle, harder than others maybe. So that's the first reason. The second one kind of surprised me as I was having more conversations with network engineers. There kept being this recurring theme of people saying that software engineers look down on network engineers, or think they're smarter. And again, like I only had the experiences I've had, which is very little time as a network anything engineer. And it was funny hearing the stories because they're the same stories I've always felt in the industry, and I just thought it's because I look different or something. So I'm starting to think it's just a cultural thing, right? Like we've created this culture where we've somehow made it out that you have to be some sort of genius, or I don't know what it is. Just a turd culture around coding. Bad culture. Third and final reason is we have really poor coding education. So coding in my opinion, is a skill more on par like reading. Like it's something that you practice over the course of years. There's a lot of skills that have to converge in order for you to know how to do it. And you're also not just memorizing it. You just can't do that. And we do not treat coding education in a welcoming way, as a lifelong journey. We don't even make it interesting. I mean, it just, you can complain about that all day long. So those are the 3 reasons I'd give.
I totally get it, because I am a bad example, because I actually started coding. So C Sharp, assembler, Visual Basic. So I started with code because I wanted to become a hacker. So one of the requirements to become a hacker was you have to know how to code all of these different languages back then. And I was studying them. And one thing that I didn't realize is that this is what you mentioned, is the way you think changes. And I didn't notice that until I started to talk with other guys like in the IT field, that they didn't think like developer think. So and
Yep.
it's just the way developer think is it's structured. So you have like modules, and everything is going to lead to the next thing. It is a very organized way. And network engineers, they just comfy, and it's supposed to happen this, okay? So that's how network engineers do. And when they do comfy and the outcome is not the one they were expecting, which in developer world is called bug, they're like freak out. And this is just a kind of mindset that you actually have to learn.
Yeah.
Things are not going to, if the outcome that you got is not the one you were expecting, there's something there that you have to troubleshoot or to identify. But network engineers, they just have a bad time with that.
Well, you're exactly right. And also, you talk about how, if they experience a bug, they freak out. I assure you that so do software engineers, but you get used to it, right? Same thing with network engineers. When I first worked in Cisco TAC, and it was just normal to get on a call where like a major network is down, right? And you need to get up as soon as possible. That is extremely stressful, right? Especially they're not giving you what you need, blah, blah, blah. But again, my peers who had been there, they're just like, oh, just another day at the office, chugging a pop or whatever, a Coke, whatever you call it. So I think you just get used to whatever your heart is in your role,
Yes, I think so too. And were you able to come up with like a secret or a strategy to help those who are in networking to start to code at least?
Well, I'm trying to create my own free course, so there's that. So part of why I'm creating my own thing is because it's hard to just answer in a sentence. If I had to just answer in a sentence without promoting what I'm already trying to do, I would say, pick a language, right? The language doesn't matter that much, right? I mean, I could say more on what you should choose, but it doesn't truly matter. But pick a language to stick with so that you can actually get a little bit of comfortability with it. And then, like you said, you're going to find some tutorial online, whatever, and you're going to have to follow that. But the key is you're trying to learn how to think like a developer. So as you're going through the tutorial, you should be practicing each and every part, and you should be making yourself think through it. And it doesn't matter how slowly you get through it. It matters, did you develop the mindset at the end?
Okay. So can you give like, I don't know, 3 languages that probably people should start looking at right now?
I mean, if I was a network engineer, I would probably be looking at like Python, Rust, Bash. But again, I mean, there's people who script in C Sharp. Part of it's going to matter.
Still being used? C
Sharp? Hey, I like C Sharp. But, a lot of stuff, as I'm sure you're aware too, is dictated by like where you work, right? So the company or particular sector you're in, they're probably used to a certain tech stack, and that's what you'll go with. I will say that Python seems to be like the Britney Spears of programming languages. Like, if you go with Python, you can't go wrong. You can apply, even if you leave network engineering for software engineering, you can use your Python. So that one's a pretty safe one. And although it's not my favorite language, to be totally honest, it's considered beginner friendly. So
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I can't tell much because once you have that basic foundation about programming, it's easier for you to start learning a new language. Like
Exactly.
you already know the structure. What is different is, okay, how do I do this on Java, on
Yep.
C sharp or whatever? So I already have that, so I can tell much about it. Okay.
And we have AI now. So if you learn
Yes.
how one language works, I mean, there's more to it than that, obviously. But if you learn one language and how to think through that language, you can use AI to quickly learn another language, to convert your code to another language. It's very good at that.
Okay, that's something I didn't think about because I'm still brushing my Python skills.
It's a
So
journey. It's a lifelong journey.
what what I don't like about programming is that you get to a stage, like, at least for me, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to build this program that is going to take like two variables. Yeah, but then what? But then yeah, you have
That's that mindset, right? Like thinking, training yourself to think in that way.
mm,
And it goes so much deeper than that, right? Because I teach people to code now, but I'm not some expert guru who's just mastered coding. That's
mm,
not really how it works, right?
okay.
Yeah, yes, there's a foundation, but you get used to solving certain types of problems.
Mm,
So, for instance, a lot of scripting problems, calling APIs, like the stuff that a lot of my network engineering community wants to do, like I could do that with my eyes closed, especially in Python at this point. But it's only because I had to mentally work through it before.
mm,
Every time I'm given a new problem, I'm also beating my head against the monitor, maybe for less time than somebody with less practice, but that's
yeah.
just how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. So let's just close this one. So Python, Bash,
Rust is very popular slash talked about.
okay. So yeah, just the basic. At least know what is a function, what is a variable,
You can Google scripting languages
scripting
if you're a network
language.
engineer.
Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
you care about automation languages.
Okay, and also get your video, the one you mentioned. I'm going to add in the video description so people can have a
Yes,
look.
so that unfortunately, right, people who follow me know that it's been put on pause because I did not know what I was getting into by bearing child, but it is resuming though. So and
Okay.
it's free and it's like nothing else out there. So it's worth checking out.
Okay, okay, I'm going to add in the video description,
Okay.
right? So now let's focus on the topic that only you can explain about is, and you mentioned briefly, as a woman, you in tech, you one of the reasons that you wanted a stable job is because you wanted to have a child.
Mhm.
How important is this decision in your life, or was that decision in your life?
Like to have a child,
Yes.
I would say it's pretty important. I don't know that all women, excuse me, I don't know that all women think like me. I'm very family oriented. And like I said before we started recording, I come from
Yeah.
the country, right? So I
Yeah.
knew from an early age that I wanted to have kids. I don't know that all ladies are like that today. But I think that initially when I graduated college, right, I wasn't thinking like, oh, how can I have a baby as soon as possible? It was more so I need financial stability. Um, and I was thinking of that for myself, right? But also it's logical, right? I cannot support life or like ever take any form of break if I'm not okay myself. But definitely, as you might have seen talked about in movies or joked online, as you get older, the pressure becomes more real, right? And and I felt that I think earlier than a lot of my peers in tech
Yeah.
because I don't know, culturally, for whatever reason, it was on my mind sooner. And so, yeah, by the time I went into Cisco Tech at 25, like to your point about, are you just a genius or something? I was like, no, I'm fucking tired of this. Like, I'm trying to get my stability. And, and I'm not that I was looking to be saved by a man, but I was not being saved by a man either. So, I had
Yeah.
to get this done. And so yeah, I think that it became more and more pressing. By the time I joined my last role, I had like the map in my mind. I was like, it's go time. Like we're running out of time here. Yeah.
Okay, so it played a big role, at that time.
Yeah, increasingly big role. But I'm sure you can answer this better than me. But like at 25, like as a male, do you feel like, oh my gosh, there's stress? Like I need to. I don't know. I'm sure you want financial stability, like to have a kid.
So okay, in my case, it's very very different because I wanted to have a kid. I want to have kids. I have one
Mm.
now. I always wanted to have kids, but for me, the struggle, I always knew this from the beginning, is like it's not to have kids, but it's to find the mother.
Mm. Okay, that's
Because
interesting.
yeah, because we as men, we are ready to be. Most of us, I believe, are ready to become fathers, like to have a family. But the thing we fear the most is whether the woman is going to be the right
Mm.
mother for the different childs that we plan to have.
Okay.
So for me, that was my concern because at 25, people were already asking, like, are you going to have your kid? You're already done. You already got the job. You got the car. You got the house. We're waiting. Where is it? Where is it? So I also, as a man, actually, I felt a lot of pressure for that. But in my case, the thing I was most afraid of is, okay, who's going to be the mother of my kids? That's the reason
Mm-hmm.
I
Very
decided to have
wise.
one. So it's kind of different.
Very important decision. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Well, and to your point, so I feel like us ladies should probably care more about who the bachelor is instead of just like I need the baby, right? But you know, once I found my now husband who's great, you still have the issue as you mentioned of are both people ready? So if it was up to me, I would have done this sooner. I wasn't trying to like become a millionaire. I just
Okay,
needed the stability.
okay, okay. So okay, so as a woman, okay, you were looking for that financial stability, like in the market, because this is also something that I get from a lot of women is that the market kind of punish women when they become pregnant. Like it's very
Mm-hmm.
common to see like, okay, because she got pregnant, then she got fired. And this is something that scares a lot of women. At some point in time, were you afraid of being in that position when you became
Um,
pregnant?
I wasn't afraid of being fired, but definitely the more time I spent in tech, it became clear that I didn't know how being pregnant was going to be feasible
Hmm.
because, you know, you get maternity leave at a lot of tech companies, but that doesn't account for the pregnancy.
Okay.
Um, so, you know, I think that there's obviously cushier tech jobs out there, right? But every job I had in tech, I worked my butt off, you know, and I was working long hours and, you know, for the most part that was fine. I like working and stuff. But you know, basically what happened was when I was at Cisco DevNet, I ended up accidentally pregnant and losing the child, right? And it was
Sorry
in
for
my
that.
opinion, thank you. Thank you. In my opinion it was because of like overwork and stress, right? Which I didn't know, I couldn't prevent it, but that was a big wake up call. Like
Hmm.
I don't feel like I can be in this profession and have kids.
Okay.
Um, so I think because that happened to me, that was my primary concern: is do engineering environments or does the tech industry create environments where women are not stressed enough that they can get pregnant and keep a child? And then beyond that, as much as I've talked about financial stability in this episode, I also I'm one to throw caution to the wind. I just believe in myself. So, you know, because that was my primary concern, that's why I decided to start a business because I thought I can work how I need to work at odd hours, doing whatever type of work I need to.
Hmm.
While pregnant, I can tailor it to motherhood. And yes, there's the stress of not just clocking out for 4 months and being
Hmm.
able to enjoy my time, but at least it's within my control. I control my own destiny.
So, would you say that this second time that you're pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
you use a different approach to what you did on the first time, or it just happened?
Yes, I did. Well, first of all, I was intentional, right? There was no more just, I'm busy jet setting, I'm busy climbing the career ladder, and it just kind of happens. And, even though it's on your mind, like planning for it as a woman, I actually think that we're very, very naive about how it actually works and how much work it takes to be pregnant or raise a child. I mean, I definitely had this image in my head of, well, I just need to have enough money for it because I'm just going to have this growing bump and I'm just going to do the same work I always did, and then poop, it's going to come out and it'll be fine. I'll figure it out. And yeah, so I mean, all of that was a big wake up call. So I ended up, this wasn't the main reason that I ended up quitting, but I ended up quitting my job, and I worked vigorously on my health the next few months. Again, I was being very cautious about it just because of my experience, but cut out my caffeine, alcohol, I'm exercising, like I treated it like a job. And so then as soon as we started trying, very fortunate, ended up with a child, or with a pregnancy. And yeah.
Okay, so it can't be like something, oops, it happened. It's has to be intentional, and your life around has to adapt to that thing that you plan to have, right?
I think that we are doing a disservice to families and to women by pretending it's just like, like it's just something you just kind of pop in there, like it's something that anyone does. I mean, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I mean, even just preparing, I'm in these circles a lot, so I don't know how much other people hear it, but you would be surprised how much work a lot of people put into just trying to get pregnant. That's a really big problem these days, with infertility and the way people, live today. So it is a job in a way.
Okay. So the job has to be something very important. So for women and men that are listening, watching this, like this is something that you really have to think through carefully, plan, and see if the job you're doing right now is aligned with this season of your life, because it might affect negatively, might impact negatively in this part of your life.
Very well summed up.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair too, everybody's very different, right? So there are women who are pregnant and run marathons and then give birth, or like women, there's women who still, I'm sure, kill it in tech while pregnant, right after birthing. And I don't know if I'm just a wimp, or or maybe I'm just burnt out and I'm like, hey, I put in my time working hard and I'm just over this, but everyone's different.
Probably because it's the first one also.
Yeah, big change.
Yeah, there is a lot. Probably on the second and third and fourth one will be
the 10th, yeah. Right.
It will be easier.
At least by the double digits, I should have it down, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. Let me write these Jesus templates. Why? Go take care of your little brother.
One arm like this.
Yeah, I hope so. So okay, let's close this one and let's focus a little bit on entrepreneurship. That's something that you're doing right now, right?
Yes.
So one of the reasons is you don't fit in the corporate environments. And what is another one?
I feel like I'm getting so many reasons why I've or failed / went into this. But yeah, so no more corporate. I want to be in control of my destiny. Want to have children, right? I could go deeper on that rabbit hole. I won't. So I think those are the three biggest ones.
Okay. But people say that entrepreneurship is way harder than working for a corporate.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is in some ways. So I did have the benefit of having had 2 prior businesses. So one was a photography business. One was I don't like to call it a failed tech startup because I decided to end it before it would lose money. So I'd like to think that I just decided to end the startup. But anyway, long story short, I have some business experience, so it's made things a little easier and less scary. But I think that speaks to how not designed workplaces are for not just women, but more so motherhood and parenthood, truly, of anyone, is that it's easier to learn how to become an entrepreneur or to take those risks than it would be to somehow do this double duty or keep up in this way that just does not make any sense. And it's not something either, right, that I think you take lightly. Like, a lot of women, I think, decide to go this entrepreneurship route for this reason, but I didn't really just wake up one day and I think I'm going to start icing cakes, all of this time that I did this career, right? Like, I'm trying to gather these skills so that I can be self-sufficient, that I have something to market. And then in my last year, right, as Cisco DevNet, I also built a personal brand online. And that's really why I was able to just kind of one day say, hey, I got a business now, and get clients.
Okay. What are the steps that one should take if they want to make this leap?
Like, to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, just like you're doing
right now. Wow, well.
Based on your experience as a woman and as a mother or future mother, so what are the steps that one should take? Not go through master's degree.
Yeah, no, you don't need that.
If they could start, okay, what would say, like, start doing this? You said that you started with your brand, but you already had some experience with the photography. What are the steps? Like, someone who's in tech, and they also want to start or try this entrepreneurship.
Yep. So there's two major types of businesses, right? There's product-based businesses and service-based businesses.
What are those?
So one is where, you have some product, like you make the next Google. Well, I don't know why they'd be paying for Google, but let's pretend you made another Google and people had to pay for it.
So you're saying
you create something and they pay for it either through subscriptions, whatever, right? So you're not paid per hour. And then there's service-based businesses where that could be any trade that you work, right? You could paint nails, you can troubleshoot networks, you can build software. And that's where you are paid per hour for your expertise or productivity. So the one thing I would say is that if you go with a service-based business, that takes a lot of the uncertainty out of it, because anybody can gain an in-demand skill, right? Anybody can get good and in-demand skill in tech and then decide to start offering those services themselves rather than giving those services to a company. That's a less glamorous route. There's a cap to how much you can make with that route, right? If you're a mother, you might only have so many hours to give, but it's stable, right? The product-based route is like the dream route. Everybody wants to come up with that $1 million idea so that they can make money for their thoughts rather than the labor worked. So anyway, I would recommend starting with a service-based business, and to do that, you have to get good at some kind of skill that people want. How do you know that people want it? Are they currently hiring other people for it? Would be a good indicator. If you are smart and can make educated guesses about the market, right? I won't cap your potential, but that's riskier. So get good at your skill. You are going to have to learn the business side of things, right? Because if you don't learn the business side of things, you will fail. That's just the sad part about it. You don't have to be the best engineer. Again, if we're talking about a developer, you don't have to be the best developer. I'm certainly not, but I've learned the business side. So people know about me.
It's not about the technical side,
you need to be good enough.
Okay.
You need to be good enough to be paid.
Okay. But that's not like 190%, like it's going to make the business work. Like
right.
Just because I'm a CCIE doesn't mean that my business is going to be profitable.
Now, by having social proof or credentials, right, like you might be able to charge more, or you might have more just people initially gravitate towards you. But at the end of the day, do you offer the service good enough, quick enough? Were they able to find you specifically? That's pretty much it. So you don't have to be the smartest or the best out there. You'd be surprised how many people work with you just because you're not an asshole. Like, are you an engineer who will tell them what's up? Will you? Some people want someone who can turn something around on a dime. I'm not going to do that for you because that's an awful life to live. But if you're that person, you can get paid big money for it. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, you said the two type of business: sell a product uh, or service, and you also mentioned about branding. What is that?
Yes. So if you think back to olden times before the internet, which I did not experience much of, so I'm just creating a fictitious world here. I imagine that your brand would be the impression that people got of you in town, right? Like maybe they heard about you from other people, what you're good at, what you're like. Maybe they directly have an interaction with you, but is the general perception people have of you. Um, so online and in the remote world, we call this a personal brand, and it's essentially what people's perception of you is based on what you post on primarily social media, but it could be your website or a blog. So basically, people do not hire you because you know what you're doing or you're the best at what you do. They hire you because you were the person they saw that day. They like you. You made it easy to get it done, etc. So I post online about certain types of topics so that when people think of me, they think of, like coding or I don't know, whatever, being a goofball. Yeah. So they know what to associate with me. They know what kind of work I've done. And I also try to put myself out there semi-frequently, as frequently as I'm capable of doing,
Okay.
so that you stay top of mind.
Okay. So it's posting on LinkedIn is kind of way of building your brand.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
So if you're listening to this and you're still posting memes, so
Hey, that can be a brand too. It can be a brand. People will work with you just because they like you.
okay.
But just have a strategy to what you're doing. Just know, don't just post a meme about anything. Post memes
Okay.
about tech to show, hey, I'm smart. I get all these tech jokes.
Okay. Okay. So can be used, but use it with some strategy behind it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you have to build your personal brand, and this is going to attract uh, leads, clients.
Yes. You can, if you need to Google it with a term, it's called inbound marketing, or
Okay.
sometimes it's called content marketing. It's the concept of instead of knocking on people's doors, either physically or by sliding into people's inboxes, which everyone finds annoying and is kind of a waste of your time, you basically attract what you want, right? You attract the people who are looking for your kinds of services, who like your personality, or whatever it is that motivates them.
Okay. Do you think that this path is for any IT, like any engineers, anyone can decide, okay, I want to start building my brand because probably I want to start this entrepreneurship thing?
I think everybody should have a brand, even if you don't want to do entrepreneurship, because that is the easiest way to get a job, too, right? Instead of being one of 1,000 applicants somewhere. Now, if you have a lot of experience in the industry, maybe you already have a lot of connections, and maybe the personal brand's not as important. You can just talk to your friend Bob, who you worked with 10 years ago, blah, 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 get an intro. But especially for those of us who are newer to the industry or
Mm.
younger, I think that it's critical. Same thing, right? Your objective might not be to get clients, but you still want people to know that you are skilled at the types of jobs you want to get hired for, or the types of conferences you want to speak at, or whatever. But to your point about, I think you asked this, maybe you didn't, but do I think anybody can like do entrepreneurship, like build this personal brand and then become an entrepreneur? Personally, yes. Like if the vast majority of people I talk to, they're too scared to do it. It breaks my heart because I love to empower people to take control of their own destiny. I think people don't give themselves the credit that they should. And also, you can only fail at something so many times before you succeed, right? Like, we're not idiots. You would learn from your failures. So my answer is yes. But again, this is my third time doing it. And debatably, I've had a lot of failures.
It's part of the process, actually.
Yes.
So you're going to fail. So one thing that so if I want to build this company, this business, whatever it might be, one of the things that I have to put myself out there saying, look, I make memes about this and I'm very good at this. And when one common thing around tech people is that they are shy.
Yes, yes.
So how can one start doing this if they don't want to be in front of the camera, if they don't want to share their pictures? Is there a strategy for that?
So this is funny because my husband struggles with this because, you know, he's living next to me and he's like, I want to do that more, but I don't want to be on camera. So obviously there's layers of this, right? This is my job and I'm comfortable with it. So I make it a point to do the types of content that are most effective, that are promoted by the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. But that's not required to build your personal brand. You just need to be out there and to be out there for certain reasons that you want to be known about. So in the case of my husband, he's constantly building new things, going to new conferences, like accomplishing things. And I tell him to tell stories around that. So you don't even have to brag about yourself, because I know that some engineers also don't want to brag.
Yes.
You know, but for instance, he won a hackathon last year. And, you know, you don't have to say, I won a hackathon, but, you know, what could you give somebody advice on, like, how did you choose this hackathon, or how can you prepare for hackathons? Like, what were you thinking when you built this product? Why did you build it in this certain way? What did you learn along the way that you didn't expect? You know what I mean? You start finding stories from your experience. He also works as a SOC engineer at these different conferences, right? So same thing, like, you know, just what was your day like in the SOC today, or in the knock? He does both. What was your day like? Who's someone you met today? Take a picture with you and that person. You know, it does not have to be complicated. Even in that scenario where it's just a photo with a knock friend, someone sees that and they associate. Let's call my husband Bob. they associate Bob with, oh, Bob can work in a knock. Bob knows what he's doing. Bob is friendly. He has a friend, right?
Yes. So basic things, but just share your own experience, but doing a soft way. And
you can think about teaching people. I think that's something that appeals to a lot of engineers. You know, teach people what you learned. Teach people what you broke this week and how you fixed it. You know. Yeah. Teach people how you overcome frustration of engineering roles. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, okay. Right now I'm thinking a lot. Most of the engineers that I'm thinking about right now, they're like, oh, if I could break his neck, something like that.
Yeah. And you can write it in text, right? You don't have to be on camera either. Maybe you eventually upgrade to that one day.
So this is an option. You don't have like to record the video. It can be
exactly. Now, is your content going to be seen by as many people? Possibly not, but that doesn't mean you're not going to build a personal brand. Might just be slower.
Okay. Using AI might help in some way.
Yes, yeah. So you want to have your own voice, because the personal brand's not very personal if you're not in it. But yeah, use ChatGPT too. You know, especially like my husband, he self-proclaimed is not the best writer, and he'll want me to like look over his stuff all the time. And if you're posting constantly, I can't look at every single post. So, you know, you can write an original story and then you can ask ChatGPT, like, hey, can you LinkedInify this? Like, optimize this for LinkedIn, or shorten this to 2 paragraphs, or whatever it is you want.
Okay. So if you're trying to build a business, there you go. So there are 2 types of business. You have to start your brand. One easy way is by just sharing your stories as a text, and use AI to help you. Don't try to reach Erika to help you for that reason.
For a free consultation. But just kidding.
Okay. So let's kind of sum up this one. If I wanted to get into tech, I don't want to say as a woman. So in your case, as a woman, would sound very, very strange. Do you think, looking at your path, your career, your professional career, do you think like it was different because you are a woman in terms of opportunities, in terms of challenges? Do you think it was different because you are a woman versus if you were like a man?
I feel like that question is both an easy yes and an easy no.
Hmm.
It's a lot more complicated than people make it out to be. So the ways in which it is different, um, well, geez. So I would say that there are some things that you know what? this is I came prepared to be on this podcast to answer this, and now I'm like,
Take your time.
I feel like the answer to it changes daily for me. I guess that's the complexity of it, right? It changes daily. But I will say yes, because here's a couple of quick examples, right? It's not even just always how I'm treated, it's also how I show up in the world. I don't feel like a technical person or a problem solver. I was the person where my internet went down, like, Dad, like, you know, somebody else is going to come fix it. First internship at Cisco, right? I had to rack and stack switches. I had never used a power drill. Like, do you know how embarrassing that was? You know what I mean? So, when you come into tech as a woman, there's a greater chance that you come in with a certain level of experiences, and some are helpful and some are not. An example of one that's been helpful is I've honed a lot of communication skills. The downside is that's not very valued in tech, despite how needed it is, despite how much we talk about it. My experience is that no one actually gives a crap about it. It's been useful as a business owner. So yeah, I think that it's been different in that way. Man, it's so hard to answer it in just a couple minutes. It's been different in ways like I can't easily bond with coworkers or my managers in order to get the projects I want or to be promoted because I am seen as a potential mate. If that makes any sense. Especially when there's only like one of you. You know what I mean? It's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
If it was like closer to 50-50, I think it would just kind of be the way we do business.
Yes.
But I've experienced that a lot and had those awkward conversations. I've had, oh man, there's just so many memories. I would say what isn't different, right, is your propensity for learning something, your propensity for putting your life into your own hands. I think the idea of finding people who value you for you, and see you for you, I don't think that's different either. I think it's harder to find those people maybe as a woman, but I think everyone should strive for that. But yeah, I just feel like I could really go down that rabbit hole, to be honest.
I believe that it's not very easy for women because as a man, we don't see as many women in tech as we see men. I would say that predominantly men are in tech in most of the roles. And to your point, like in the room, like there are probably 10 people and only one is a girl, like there's going to be this moment like, okay, so we only have one girl and the men will start competing.
No, it's true. I mean, it goes so deep. I mean, there's a lot of engineers who took this role because they're less comfortable with people than things.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who I can tell hate me because they've had bad experiences with women that have like nothing to do with me, right? And like again, like what am I supposed to do about that? Really, I can't do anything. There was one other example, but I think I might have lost it.
Okay.
Pregnancy brain, yeah.
Yeah, but it's different. There's a lot, no argument about that. So if you were to recommend to a woman that wants to get into tech, become a developer or something else, what are the steps that you would recommend her to take? Like specifically, like what, based on your experience and based also on what you see right now in the market, AI, layoffs, we talk about entrepreneurship, that might be something, but I believe might require also a little bit of experience for other areas. So if this person wants to get into tech, what would be like your recommendation?
Sure. Well, I would say 80% of this is going to be the same no matter who you are. But and I'm assuming they have no skills today and they want to break in today. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. Okay. Well, I think that, first of all, don't worry too much about where you're going to end up or what AI is or isn't going to replace. I know that's a controversial thing to say, but just like in my case, right, where the moment you get your first tech job or you start understanding the landscape of technology, you start gaining power, you start knowing where you need to move next, etc. I think it's important that students, either through a degree or just gaining the skills, I don't think it matters that much, in a certain area, right? So I think that IT is a great place to start. I still think software engineering is a great place to start. I think cyber is harder to break straight into. It's a different conversation. I think it requires some other foundational skills from the other places, but if you want that, you can go for it. So choose somewhere of interest to start gaining those skills and get practice however you can, right? So same thing, people are not a fan of things like low paid opportunities, unpaid internships. I will tell you, somebody who did not come from money, that I feel like that's the price you pay to gain knowledge, which is power, right? Okay. So I think that you do what you got to do to gain a skill in a certain area. The part, build your brand online while you're doing it. Because
she doesn't have experience.
Well, so
learn how to import this on Python.
I want to give you a great example of somebody. So, do you know Data Bunny by any chance across a bunch of social media?
Is a singer?
He's a network engineer.
No.
But his name's Data Bunny. Oh yeah, not Bad Bunny. Oh. Yeah. But so Data Bunny, I started following him on LinkedIn. I don't know if he was a college student or just practicing, but he would post just a photo with one sentence on LinkedIn every single day of his lab and what he did in it that day. And he gained a huge following, and he immediately got a job after whatever program he was in. And like, he's created a super successful career just by saying, hey, today I was playing around with this. Like, not showing you how to do it, nothing.
This is what I'm doing.
Exactly, because people associated with him as being a dedicated network engineer, right? So yeah, I would start the personal brand from day one too. Hey, this is my journey, because people love a good story too, right? Look at my evolution. I think the part that is important for everyone, but I think is especially important for women, is you're going to have to find two things: an internal source of validation and a support group. So the support is because there's not going to be many women out there. So you need to find whoever those other women are, if they exist on the internet, whatever, and you need to be buddies. You need to have somebody. Yeah.
Do you have any group, any chat, any Discord that you can recommend to women who would like to join, like this Marvel of women in tech movement?
So I kind of crafted my own because I wasn't smart. It just kind of happened organically. Instagram. There's a lot of women on Instagram in tech. A lot of them follow each other and each other's work there. I mean, there's a ton of women in blank organizations. So whatever it is you decide to pursue, women IT, women cybersecurity, like those organizations all exist. I'm not as big of a fan of them because I think that you don't get as much constant interaction. Like, you need to have friends. Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, somebody you can DM after something stupid happens at work and you can vent. Or am I the crazy one?
Yeah.
And again, I think that the guys need this as well, because it's a hard thing to do to get into this industry, but probably easier to find people. And then the internal source of validation. So this is a big difference, I think, I don't even know if it's a difference between men and women, or if it's women are not willing to do something that men are doing. I don't know. But the tech industry is very harsh. You're constantly told that you're not good at what you do, right? If you're applying for jobs, you're going to constantly be told you suck, or that you failed something, even if it was unreasonable. And, those of us who've been in the industry, we're just used to it. And we're like, wow, well, that was a stupid interview, so I'm not taking that personally. But when you're first starting out, that is just absolutely devastating, I think, to a lot of women's confidence, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we want to study up and do our best for the interview. I think it's hard on anybody, really. So yeah, that is the way I've survived, right? Because it's not just about getting in; it's about staying past that very first job. And you do that by not caring what anyone thinks of your skills. That's way easier said than done. But you have to stop looking for a sign from, Joe down the street who knows how to code, and your computer science professor, and your first boss. Like, who gives a fuck what any of those people think? Because at the end of the day, one day you're going to become really skilled, and you're going to realize it didn't matter. You're worthy because you're here, because you're doing it. You get better every day, and it's just end of story,
Yeah, got it.
So I feel like I only answered half that question, but
yeah, it's a long one.
It's a very hard one, yeah.
So we just say, like, if they want to get started about the network developer or becoming a developer, Python, we already said some of them, but start with basic. Would you recommend like a specific training or certification or anything related?
So my favorite Python course is on Udemy by an instructor called Colt Steele. I think he's really down to earth. He explains things well. It's a long course. It's like 80 hours or something, but it is good. That's the only course that I typically recommend to people. In terms of getting a job, it don't matter if God himself came from the heavens and bestowed upon you the gift of coding. All that matters is, do I have proof? So whatever it is you use to learn how to do this, you need to have a project out there, and you have to be talking about it online.
Something like GitHub, then...
Yep, GitHub or GitLab or wherever. And then, again, tell the story online, because you can vibe code this right now, right? Or code with AI, if people haven't heard vibe coding.
Yeah.
You could easily spin something up with AI that someone brand new to coding could do. So it's a matter of, hey, this is my journey. Today, this is day 4, taking Colt Steele's course. I learned about this. And I'm going to apply it to this idea I have. Here's what it looks like. Hey, community, how could I improve this code? Yeah.
Okay, got it. I got it. Oh, that was great, Erika. So where can people find you if they want to get more information about it?
Yeah. So I'm on a lot of socials: LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and mildly X at Erika the Dev, or Erika Dietrick on LinkedIn. And YouTube, I guess.
Okay.
I'm trying to expand YouTube.
I'm just going to add all of them in the video description, then people can just start following directly.
Yeah. So I'm on a little mini break to regroup, but yeah. So the coding course for network engineers is in full swing and being finished, and yeah, my goal is to make coding accessible to anyone and everyone, but for real this time. So that would be one reason to follow.
Can you tell me a little bit more now? In the end, you're okay. You have a little bit. Okay, so network code for network engineers.
Yes. So this idea actually was born while I was still at Cisco. It was network engineers were like, not only is it hard to learn how to code, but I don't have time. Like, I work a job. So this course is about learning to code with AI. So there's phases of it. Level 1 is, hey, Erika's going to physically teach you as quickly as possible how to think like a developer. Like, these are the foundational knowledges you need. The next level is, hey, now we're going to use AI to learn about these certain topics, guided in a certain order. I have a rubric to assess your understanding, blah, blah, blah. And then I talk about strategic code generation, right? So here's how you can generate code based on your knowledge, not just, oh, make this script for me now. But anyway, I've gotten good feedback on the videos that are out there so far. The very first one is how to think like a developer. So probably my highest rated video. And yeah, once I finish it for network engineers, I have surprises that I can't say for network engineers that are coming up, but I'll also create courses for other disciplines.
Okay. I'll make sure to add them in the video description once they come out. And Erika, this was a pleasure, and I hope to have you in the show the next time.
Yes, thank you so much. It was awesome to be here.